A baby changes everything, doesn't
A
it?
baby changes everything.
I know for us, we got married and in 18 months. Really, actually, at the 9 month mark, I was like, something's really the matter with me. I'm like, how could that happen? Anyway, yeah, something was the matter with me. That's what I thought, and it was, and I had a baby later. Well, okay. So, what do you think are like for you and Cody? What are some of the bigger challenges as you guys first got married? Maybe even before that baby came, because we can talk without any interruptions before the kids come, and once the kids come along, it's hard to get conversation, and everybody needs. I like to say everybody has a sign around their neck, whether it's our kids, our friends, our parents, your congregation. Everybody has this sign around the neck, and they're walking around and it says, "Make me feel important," right?
Mm.
But your spouse has to come first and all that. Even when we have kids, our spouse has to come first because that's when your relationship's great, then it trickles down. If people are yelling and screaming at each other, then the kids are yelling and screaming at each other. There's this tension and it just goes all through the family and causes a lot of problems. But so for you and Cody, because you guys are awesome people, but awesome people had challenges too. What were some big frustrations and how did y'all solve those?
Well, the thing that I learned first in marriage is that marriage is an attack on selfishness.
Ooh.
I didn't learn how selfish I was until I got married. I got married because I loved Cody, and Cody was beautiful and she was wonderful, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her. And she comes into my life and makes my life better, and is my helpmate and all those things. And when I got married, I learned that a lot of the I love yous were I love you because of what you can do for me. So marriage was just it was that, like, it was learning in those unreal, like, I learned how selfish I was and how, well, I don't want to care. And this sounds terrible, but I'm not worried about you, I'm worried about me. Like, how can we make this is supposed to make me happy? And I learned that marriage isn't about happiness, it's about holiness. And God has used her to hone in some things in my life and to knock off some rough edges, and some of that sandpaper and some of that's with cannonballs. um, but when we first got married, all I know about a marriage is what I've seen on television. Those marriages that have been modeled through shows that I've watched, and what I thought marriage was going to be. And so when we got married, like initially, whenever we would have intense fellowship, I thought, you're supposed to just have it out, son, and, like, let's talk it out, and go after it. And I'm a passionate person, which Oswald Chambers said that an unguarded weakness is a no an an unguarded weakness is a double. What did he say? He said that an unguarded strength is a double weakness. That's what he said. So
Mm.
if I'm not passionate about it, I don't want to do it. So in that passion, I thought that when we argued, that it goes up, like we're arguing. And so every time that we would argue early on, when I'd go, and it was always about silly stuff. Like, I remember one time we were on our way to see her family in Tennessee. She's from Sevierville, which is like right outside of Knoxville. And we were on our way to Tennessee, and I didn't know where we were going. I didn't know how to get there. I was trusting her to tell me where to go, and I don't like to be lost. So,
Like most
like,
men.
yeah. Well, I I don't care to ask for directions, but I hate being lost. So we're on our way there, and for some reason, I just got so frustrated with how she'd say, "Oh, you were supposed to turn right there," or, we were supposed to. And I just got so frustrated, and I got angry, and I like raising my voice, and I wanted to just rip the steering wheel out of that car. And the more that I went up, I learned that Cody shuts off. So when we argue and I raise my voice, conversation's over. And so, as frustrated as I am, it's even more so because she doesn't want to, like, she's not going to talk to me when I'm like that. So, like, it was difficult, to learn how, I like, a successful marriage is one where you're willing to sacrifice for each other. And sometimes you've got to sacrifice yourself so that the other person has oxygen. And I just like that was a hard lesson to learn. So I mean, even now, like when I'm frustrated about something, a negative could be that I don't talk about it because I don't know how. I don't know how to communicate to her without being passionate, like I call it passionate.
Yeah.
And if I do that, it shuts her off. So like, it's steady, it's constant, it's dealing with another person, but it's something that we're called to do it out of love. But man, it's that selfishness is so hard to fight.